Citizens of Bonita Springs, Estero, San Carlos Park, Naples, Fort Myers, and surrounding communities, or should I say neighbors, welcome. My name is Doug Pratt. I'm one of the pastors of this church, and we're very honored to be able to swing our doors open wide to you and welcome you all to be here for this time. We have all been through a lot. Every one of our circumstances is at least slightly different from anyone else in this room. And yet we have all faced challenges in the last 2 weeks. There are times when we are without power or feeling floodwaters rise around us. We are hot, we are stressed, we are fearful, we are tired, we are cranky, and in those moments, we feel alone. But tonight we are here to make it clear to all that we are not alone. We are in this together. And there are people here to help us in powerful ways. Among those who are here to help us, you'll find tables in the public area of an organization called Love, Inc., which is geared towards receiving and helping people to get their needs met through both the public and nonprofit private sectors. Stop at that table or visit and be on the phone with Love Inc. in the weeks to come. And in the large assembly room just across the corridor are people established by FEMA and by other agencies to assist you in applying for aid, and they will work with you individually, counsel you, and be of great help to you. I want to apologize for the fact that as we just a few minutes ago had one of our normal Florida thunderstorms roll overhead, one of our air conditioning units that services this large room is on the fritz, and we're doing what we can to get it back up. But right now there's a little bit of cooling going on, and we apologize if it's less comfortable than you'd like, though candidly a lot of us have learned by our own experience recently what it's like to live without air conditioning in Florida. And in fact, for days, forgot what that felt like to be cool. So we're sorry for that, but we're doing the best we can. Also, you'll notice that the right corner of our sanctuary is dark, and some of those seats are blocked off because Irma gave us a roof leak, and we've had some drippage, and we don't want anybody to receive an unintended shower tonight. So therefore, we ask no one to sit in those areas. We have restrooms available, and if you go out into the main corridor, you'll see signs directing you straight out the center doors and to the right. Men's and women's rooms available at any point during this meeting. It's my pleasure now to introduce to you the Mayor of Bonita Springs, Mr. Peter Simmons.
Good evening, and thank you for being here. You know, a lot of times when I give public speaking appearances like this, I have a lot of notes. I don't have any notes tonight. I'm just going to share from the heart, and there's a few people that I'd like to recognize, speak ahead of me, actually. I'd like to recognize for a few moments State Senator Kathleen Passidomo. If we could welcome her.
Thank you all. I just want to thank you all for coming. I want to thank you for your patience and for your understanding and for going through this as we all are. But I also want to thank your elected officials, your mayor, your council, your city manager, law enforcement. They've been working around the clock. And as I say, everybody looks Italian because they all have dark circles. You're going to get a lot of good information tonight. We're going to help you through this. And if you need anything, call my office, anything on a statewide basis, because, you know, we're here to help. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. I'd like to now introduce Deputy Mayor Peter O'Flynn.
Well, I'll be brief. We've all been through a lot together, and thank you for being here tonight. It's very important that all the resources that are needed from our government, from our charities, are available so that you know where you can get help. So thank you all for coming.
I'd like to also introduce Councilman Greg DeWitt, who is the Deputy Chief at the Fire Department, and Greg and I had a few anxious moments together.
Again, I just want to echo what we've been saying the whole time. We're there for you. We want everybody, we realize it's hard. You got to be patient. Help is coming in forms of the government. FEMA is here today. We're going to talk more about that. They're going to talk more about that. The fire department and sheriff's out there with you guys every single day. If you need anything, call 911, call the fire station. We'll come check on you, deliver what we need to get. We still have lots of MREs. We still have the pod going. So anything you guys need, we're there for you. The only thing that we ask is, this is not a sprint. This isn't going to be a sprint, this whole cleanup. It's going to have to be a marathon. So we're all going to have to come together, be Venetians like we've always been, be proud, and just be patient and bear with us. We're trying to do all we can do.
Thank you, Greg. Thanks, Greg. I'd also like to introduce Councilman Fred Forbes from District 6. Fred.
I'd like to echo the words of everybody that's spoken. I will tell you that there's a determined effort by City Council that we are going to improve the flooding situation in Bonita. And it's going to take a while to do it, but there are things that can be done and will be done to make things better. I think that we've all been through a lot, but we're what do you call it, one of the greatest cities in the state. We can get through this together. Thank you.
And I'd like to introduce Ken Clifford from Congressman Rooney's office. Congressman Rooney texted me personally. He's high-tech these days, I like that, and said that he was unable to be here, but Ken will speak on Congressman Rooney's behalf. Thank you.
Just on behalf of Congressman Rooney, we just want to thank FEMA and all the officials who made this happen. Even though he couldn't be here tonight, we've been here since day one, and one of my peers who works for Congressman Rooney lives, 2 blocks from here. So we've been touring the floods, and we've been doing everything we can day and night, including working with the mayor to make sure that debris removal happens. And I just want to let everyone know the congressman is on Team Bonita Springs. Everyone assumes that we're on Team FEMA, and we do appreciate, wherever they're sitting, all the great things that we do, but we're your voice in the federal government. So as the next 2 weeks to 2 months to 2 years happen, hopefully it's more 2 weeks, we are here to help call our offices. We are working around the clock. Like I said, Mr. Mayor here, Mr. Simmons, has gotten some debris removal stuff done in a matter of days, which normally takes weeks or months. So as much as I don't want to speak his praise too much, he's doing a great job for you all. And just let us know what we can do for you, Mayor. We are here on your behalf, and we are fighting every day. And we'll be here all night, and we'll be here. Give us a call anytime on our website. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I know there's a representative here from Senator Marco Rubio's office, and also State Representative Ray Rodriguez's office, James Mullen, who have elected not to speak, but are here and are here to help answer questions and are here for everything that we're going through. So, in a situation like this, for a lot of you that don't know me, I'm not from here. That's why I talk so funny. I'm from New Hampshire. My wife is from Michigan. She kind of helped straighten out my accent a little bit. And we moved here in 2009. So anybody that tells you I know how, I have all the answers, and I know the best to do, no. But we have the best here tonight in FEMA. We have the best here tonight in Small Business Administration, SBA from Washington, D.C. We have Florida Power and Light. We have the Lee County Sheriff's Office. They do know how to handle situations like this. I could not be more proud or more happy to host this town hall meeting tonight from the bottom of my heart. I know you're all looking for answers, or a lot of you are. A lot of you I've already spoken with and worked together the past 10 days or so. Actually, the past probably month when you back up, because in Bonita Springs, as you know, a few weeks ago, we had rain. We had heavy rain, and there was flooding 2 weeks ago before Irma, was in the ocean, and we were starting to track Irma. So we've been through a lot already as a community. We are in a floodplain here. We have answers to get. And I want to categorize those answers in two categories. We have short-term needs and answers, and we have long-term needs and answers. And I intend to tackle both. I have a foot in the long term right now, but I have both feet and both arms right now in the short term. So in the short term, we're going to get you some answers, okay? And we're not going to leave here tonight till everybody has their answers. And we look forward to a great conversation. I want to let you know that, up in New Hampshire, we did have tornadoes. I mean, we did have violent seas. We did have different things, but this certainly was my first in the state of Florida. So without further ado, and I'll be here until the last one of you leave tonight to answer any questions, to help you any way that I can, I would like to thank Dolph Demont from FEMA, who helped me organize this. Dolph reached out to me the other day, and Dolph said, would you like to do a town hall meeting with FEMA in Bonita Springs? And I said, Lord does answer prayer. So Dolph, thank you for being here. Thank you for organizing this, and the show is yours, my friend. Thank you.
Wow. Dynamic mayor. Good evening and thank you for coming. We've got a great turnout tonight, and I'm glad that you did take the time to come out tonight. Mayor Simmons arranges town hall meetings to give us an opportunity to tell you about our programs that we offer through the Small Business Administration, through the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and FEMA. And there are a number of them. These include hotel, motel lodging, critical needs assistance, transitional sheltering assistance, disaster unemployment, legal services, low interest loans, and blue roof repairs. And today, there were, through the U.S. Department of Agriculture, another program was activated called the SNAP program, which is a Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program. We don't have anybody here to talk about that, but if you want more information than that, we have a disaster recovery center that opened up today over at the Florida Gulf University, and they will have someone that can address that. You have, there's no words to say what I know a lot of you have gone through. I've been doing, as a federal coordinating officer, I'm a branch director on this disaster, but I've seen Katrina, and I've been through 20 years now of disasters, and it doesn't get any worse than this. This is it. This is a catastrophe for this community. The number of homes that are still underwater is appalling. It's shocking. But you've experienced a lot of. It's 2 weeks now since Hurricane Irma ravaged your community and so many areas of Florida, and we sincerely want to help you in any way that we can. And we're going to be here for the duration until we're going to be here until you're recovered. In some form, FEMA will be here. So that's what we do. We have long-term recovery. They're not here yet because we're still in response. But I have to say that our organization has been stretched pretty thin in recent weeks. With all the hurricanes in Texas, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, Florida, it's all hands on deck for us. We have a lot of volunteers. It's hard to staff up the way we normally do, and things have slowed down as a result. The 1-800 number, if you call the 1-800 number, you can be on there for a long time, and it's too bad because they take pride in answering those within a few minutes. They're just overwhelmed. This hurricane, the back-to-back hurricanes with the devastating damages has just overwhelmed everybody. So I guess we want you to know that the best way to register is online if you haven't registered. We have people here that will help you register, but you can register online at www.disasterassistance.gov and avoid the wait on the 800 number. Or you can visit our disaster recovery centers. Or we're going to be here tomorrow again from 8 o'clock till 1 o'clock for more registrations if you haven't registered yet. And I really want to ask you to please first register. That's the first step in the whole process. And everything unfolds after that. All the programs that are available to you will be based on your registration. And take advantage of tonight to register if you haven't done so, and to get, as the mayor said, all your questions answered. It's the time now when we have all of our subject matter experts here lined up. You're going to hear about our programs, but basically we want to be here to answer your questions and make sure you go away knowing what the path ahead is going to be like. At this point, I'd like to introduce our moderator, Brian Heyer, who will keep things on track and introduce our speakers. Thank you. Brian? It's all yours.
Well, this is wonderful. Really glad that we have everyone here, and we are excited to be able to provide you information. I'm actually out of Washington, D.C., but I'm a Florida native and grew up in Brevard County. So I am very excited to be back here in Florida and try and do what I can to help the rest of the FEMA team and help every one of you. So we have a few program experts with us tonight. They're going to come up one by one. I'll introduce them. They'll talk about the different programs that are available. And then following those speakers, then we will we've got a couple of mics here, one at that end, one at this end, to be able to answer questions. And we do also have Spanish-speaking interpreters, so if we do, we can help you with that as well. We're all friends and neighbors here, so don't be shy about going through the pews and bumping your neighbor out to get your question answered. We want to make sure that we do that. So first up, we're going to talk about our individual assistance program, and that'll be Chelsea Smith. And then we have about 3 or 4 more speakers, and then we'll open it up for questions. Chelsea.
Thank you so much. First of all, I'd like to say our thoughts and prayers go out to every single person that's been impacted by Harvey, Maria, as well as Irma, obviously, which is why we are here. What I'd like to do is kind of briefly tell you about our individual assistance program. During times of disaster, as you guys are witnessing at this point, you see a variety of assistance coming into a community. This assistance comes in many forms: the American Red Cross opening shelters, the Salvation Army cooking meals, and we're part of that whole package. So I want you guys to know that we're not the only solution. We're a partner with all of these other agencies and here with you guys tonight. Our Individuals and Households program provides grant assistance for those homeowners who are impacted. The first thing I'd like to cover with you guys is the eligibility for that program. It is for primary homeowners, and what that means is that you live in the home for 6 months or more out of the year. In addition, this program is for U.S. citizens, non-citizen nationals, or qualified aliens. FEMA must be able to verify the applicant's identity. The applicant's insurance or other forms of disaster assistance received cannot meet your disaster cost needs, and the applicant's necessary expenses and serious needs are a direct result of the declared disaster. Our Individual and Households program provides grant assistance for things like rental assistance. If you're displaced from your home for a period of time, you may need to go rent another place to stay. That assistance can be used to do that. In addition, we offer lodging expense reimbursement. This is, for example, if you need to go stay in a hotel or motel, you can do that using this money. Home repair assistance is for your home. And then in addition to that, we have home replacement assistance. So that's if your home is no longer inhabitable. The first step you need to take is what Dolph said. You need to register for that potential assistance. We have services here in the back today to be able to do that for you. We have your disaster recovery centers for you guys to be able to do that, and there are more of those centers opening as well. We also have our Other Needs Assistance Program. This program has two prongs. One prong of this program is not dependent on your income. This includes things like funeral assistance, medical and dental assistance, as well as additional child care costs that have been incurred as an effect of the disaster. Our SBA dependent, or Small Business Administration, we work through the process. They partner with us during times of disaster, and they work through any people that may be eligible for a disaster assistance loan. They're here tonight. They're going to talk to you about that eligibility as well as what that covers. Things, if you were referred back to FEMA, meaning you were not eligible for a Small Business Administration loan, those things that you might be eligible for include personal property assistance, transportation assistance, and moving and storage assistance. The maximum grant you could receive from FEMA is $34,000. And these are going to be those basic things in your house to make it safe, sanitary, and functional for you to live in. In addition to this, any decision FEMA makes can be appealed. You have 60 days from the time you received a notification or a check with a date on it, and you have those 60 days to decide if you would like to appeal that decision. This is done in writing, and you can also receive assistance writing this and working through that process at our disaster recovery centers. That way you have everything you need right there in front of you to be able to work through that. In addition to tonight, we'll have staff here in the morning from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. tomorrow to help with this if for whatever reason you cannot stay tonight. I'll be up here later to answer additional questions. I also did want to mention the programs that Dolph mentioned. Our transitional sheltering assistance. This program is specific for this disaster. It allows people to check into a hotel that is part of that program and stay there as long as the state will allow. So basically, the state is a partner with us in this, and they help us work through and work that process to keep people there, or sometimes say, okay, it's time, to go back to your home and to look at that. So that is something we partner with the state on. In addition, we have what's called our Critical Needs Assistance Program. This is also in partnership with the state. This is a one-time $500 award for those critical needs that people have for being displaced from their home. This includes things like medication, durable medical equipment, if that was something that was lost. So those critical needs that you have being displaced and right after disaster. So those are just a few of the things we offer. We have all these other speakers that are here tonight, and I'll be here afterwards to answer questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Chelsea. Next up, we're going to talk about the Disaster Survivor Assistance Program. Ezra James with FEMA. Ezra?
Good evening, everyone. I echo my colleague, Chelsea, with the prayers, and my thoughts are with all of the wonderful people in the great state of Florida. We're here to support you however we can, and that is one of the reasons why we're here. I represent Disaster Survivor Assistance. We are the individuals that you see in the community knocking on your doors, at your civic centers, at the fire stations, registering you, looking up those applications, and telling you what the status of your disaster assistance actually is. We have individuals in the back. We've actually been here most of today trying to preemptively register you for the assistance so that you can come in here and ask as many questions as you actually need. I'll be here to assist Chelsea in the question asking and answering this afternoon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ezra. Next, we'll have Tamim Chaudhuri from the Small Business Administration.
Good evening, everyone. This is my first visit to your city, and I'd like to say on behalf of my entire agency, Small Business Administration, that the next time we come here, we want to see this fully recovered. SBA, many of you may have heard of it as just an agency that helps businesses. I'm from the Office of Disaster Assistance, and I'd like to say it's not just for businesses. It's for homeowners, renters, businesses, and nonprofits that have experienced a disaster. We offer low-interest, long-term loans to all of those categories mentioned above. I'd like to echo what Doug said earlier. Please, guys, go ahead and register with FEMA if you've experienced any sort of damage. FEMA, as I like to say, is the motherboard. From FEMA, we get the information. It's through FEMA that homeowners and renters are referred to SBA. I have flyers with me, so you don't need to write this down, but I'll say it out loud anyways. Anyone interested in disaster loans, you can go to disasterloan.sba.gov, and we have the online application there. B, you can call 1-800-659-2955 to ask for a paper application if you're more comfortable with it. Or C, which is my preferred option, please just walk into one of our disaster recovery centers. As Doug mentioned, we just have set one up in Fort Myers. We have several others set throughout the state of Florida. You just go to FEMA.gov, disaster center locator, to find the one nearest to you, because you will have customer service reps in my jacket, and they'll sit down with you to just fill out the whole loan application process. I've seen this done in about a half an hour's time. I think it's totally worth your time because you know you've got it done properly if a professional is helping you out with it. I'd like to move on to talk about the particular disaster loans that we have. For homeowners and renters, starting off with homeowners, you may qualify for a loan up to $240,000 with an interest rate that may be as low as 1.75%. And you see, sometimes people wonder, why do I need a loan? When you're referred from FEMA to SBA, please just fill out the loan because it helps fill in the gaps. The grant money, your insurance money, it may not be enough. We just like to think of this as an alternative that we don't want you to miss out on. We also include renters. I've heard of plenty of cases of renters saying that, hey, what do you have for me? My car just completely flooded. I have only liability insurance. What do I do? The amount goes up to $40,000 for your personal property damages, and same interest rate, 1.75% is the lowest. Moving on to businesses, you may qualify for a loan of up to $2 million. The interest rate may be as low as 3.3%, okay? And that includes your inventory, real estate, equipment, etc. Nonprofits, such as churches. I've seen a church, I just came in from Texas, I've seen a church just completely underwater. So nonprofits also qualify. $2 million again, and this time the interest rate is lower because it's a nonprofit. It's 2.5%. People ask, as in homeowners, renters, that why do I need to fill in the loan? I can't afford it. I'll echo what my FEMA colleague Chelsea said. You see, if the SBA loan is denied, your case is referred back to FEMA. So usually FEMA takes a look at the other needs assistance program to see that, okay, Mr. Smith didn't qualify for the loan. Let's see how we can help him out with other needs assistance. So don't block yourself out from receiving additional assistance, and these are taxpayer dollars that should rightfully go back to you because you're hurting at this time. Basically, to qualify for a loan, we ask that the applicant have an acceptable credit history, basically be able to show that he or she can repay the loan back, and provide collateral for loans above $25,000. Going over the loan process, after you've filled it in, a loan officer contacts you, asks you, hey, we've received your loan, and it may, at this time, we're dealing with so many cases, probably 500,000 cases. The time frame at this time is at 4 weeks. By this time, a loss verification officer visits you in your home or business just to see what type of damage you have, and by the time the loan is closed, it's going to be a 4-week process. Our SBA loans don't have any application fees, and this may be the key to fully recover from a home damage, a business damage. And I'd also like to put in this one part. I've heard a lot of businesses saying that they've just lost revenues. They haven't had a damage per se, but they've lost revenues because there's no power, they've lost their inventory. That's an economic injury loan, and for that, SBA can also help. the same terms apply. It can go up to $2 million with an interest rate as low as 3.3%. So if you have an economic injury because of this hurricane, please do look into it. We've got the Disaster Recovery Center set up. I'd also like to mention that SBA has a Business Recovery Center set up. The nearest one to you would be at Naples Business Accelerator at 3510 Craft Road. It's open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. I'll stay here afterwards. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Now we're going to talk about the Blue Roof program from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Rick Morrow. Rick?
Howdy all. Wish I could meet y'all under better circumstances. Here to tell you a little bit about the Blue Roof program. It's a FEMA program that's put on through the Army Corps of Engineers. And it's a little different than some of the other ones you've heard about so far, so probably the easiest way for me to go about this is to kind of give you some of the frequently asked questions. So what is the Blue Roof program? It's essentially a program where the Army Corps of Engineers comes in, if needed, and puts the blue plastic over your roof if it's damaged. It helps to reduce any damage that may be going on inside the house as it rains again and things like that. Only thing we don't need a sign up or anything like that as far as a registration. All we need is for you to go to one of the right of entry centers and just sign a paper saying you're giving us permission and our contractors permission to go look at your roof. Once we do that, then we can go in, we have assessors come by, they check it out. And there's certain qualifications. There can't be more than 50% of the roof damaged because it's got to be at least structurally stable. If it's a metal roof or a clay tile roof, sometimes that's a case-by-case basis. But if it's a wood roof with typical asphalt shingles, those are usually pretty easy to work with. So they'll come out and they'll assess it, and then they will, once they make that determination, send it off to a contractor, and the contractors will come right out, and as soon as they get through there, because they're going to go through the hardest hit areas first and get some plastic over there just to kind of reduce some of the damage on your property. I have flyers out there in that public area, both in English and Spanish, but if you want, I'll go ahead and tell you the phone number to call. It's 1-888-ROOF-BLUE, ROOFBLU. That is 1-888-766-3258. You can call that number and they will give you a location that's nearest you, and then you can go from there and go fill out that right of entry form. This is no charge. This is totally free, so don't hesitate. Just go get it done. The plastic and everything they use it's kind of rated to last you about a month. That should give you time to maybe talk to your insurance companies or whatever and maybe get some of the proper fixes going, but it'll allow you to at least preserve what's going on in your house and maybe prevent further damage. Right now, there are 3 sites in the area. One in Lee County, which is at the Lowe's store at 8040 Danny Drive. And then you guys are farther south, but there's 2 sites in Collier County. One at 2800 North Horseshoe, and another one at 310, oh man, I'm going to butcher this name, Alachua. You guys know what that is? Alachua? Oh, okay. And I'm assuming you guys know that city too. Immokalee, that's it. You can tell I'm not from around here, right? So I'll be hanging around here for a while, and so feel free to ask some questions. And if you want, please grab one of those flyers out there in that public area, and just feel free to ask me any questions.
Okay, Thanks, Rick. Now we've got Sarah Brady to talk about floodplain management and insurance. Sarah, thank you.
Good evening, everybody. As with the rest of FEMA and all the other agencies here tonight, we do understand that what you're going through is difficult, so please seek us out for the knowledge and the help that we can provide to you. I just want to separate a couple of terms here. So there's folks that have flood insurance, there's folks that have homeowners insurance, and then there's folks that don't have any insurance. Flood insurance is completely separate than your home insurance policy. So the way we like to think of it is homeowners insurance takes care of your home from the top down. Flood insurance takes care of your home from the bottom up. So regardless of whether you have flood insurance, homeowners insurance, or no insurance, you still do need to apply for disaster assistance. Even if you have a flood insurance, an active flood insurance policy, you still need to apply for disaster assistance. The way that it works is once you make your claims with your flood insurance company, if they come back and deny you coverage for anything, you take that denial letter back to disaster assistance, and a lot of times they can help you kind of fill in the cracks with what your flood insurance policy did not cover. So there's two types of insurance. There's national flood insurance provided by FEMA, their national flood insurance program, and then there's also private insurance offered by private companies. I cannot attest to any of the workings for the private insurance, but I do know the majority of this community that has a flood policy, it is under the National Flood Insurance Program. The National Flood Insurance Program has many companies that write under its umbrella. So if you are getting your policy letters and it looks like a FEMA letterhead, you most likely have NFIP Direct or the National Flood Insurance Program Direct as who writes your policy. Other companies such as Wright, Assurant, and Allstate also write flood policies under the National Flood Insurance Program umbrella. The reason I bring this up is because once you're ready to file a claim, if you haven't already, you need to call your insurance agent. A lot of times you'll try and call FEMA, the number 1-800-621-FEMA. That's not who's going to help you with your claim. They can help you after that or if you have additional questions. But you need to call your insurance company, your flood insurance company. Once you call them, you let them know about your loss, they'll help you file a claim. Then they will send an adjuster out to your house. That adjuster and you need to become lifelong best friends because they are your first line of defense when it comes to how your flood policy is going to pay out. If you've already started making repairs, just make sure you document it, take pictures of where you had to rip up the carpet, take pictures of where you had to pull down drywall because you needed to stop the mold from creeping up the wall. Anything you had to buy for repairs, keep the itemized receipts. If you've had a contractor come out, make sure you have an itemized estimate for that contractor because your adjuster will need that. After that, your adjuster then kind of compiles all that together and comes back to you and you two look at a proof of loss, which kind of tells how much they think that your damages were worth. If you agree with that proof of loss, you sign it and you get a check and you can cash it and move on. Even if you don't agree with it, you still sign it to get that check so you can begin recovering, but you ask your insurance agent to do an amended proof of loss with you. It's kind of like a second go around. So you don't get additional claim payout. The amended proof of loss is meant for you to kind of go back and look at things that you don't think were covered initially from that first go around. So anything in addition to that first proof of loss payment. If you do have questions about the process, call 1-800-621-FEMA and choose option 2. Tell them you have a policy. Otherwise, you might get transferred to individual assistance. They do have a Spanish-speaking line, so they can transfer you to a Spanish speaker to discuss your flood insurance needs. There's also great resources on FEMA.gov, and just Google FEMA flood insurance, FEMA how to file a claim, and there's a lot of great fact sheets that FEMA posts that you can download and look at to help walk you through the process. If you don't have flood insurance now, I encourage you to get it now. There are a lot of low-paying premium options for people that are not required by their lender to have insurance. But if you just want it to be safe, there are a lot of very low premium options for you out there. So please do think about getting insurance. Because of the severity of the flooding here, the last thing I want to bring up is something called ICC, Increased Cost of Compliance Coverage. If you have an active national flood insurance policy and your home is either damaged, substantially damaged, or as a result of repetitive loss, you are eligible for ICC funds, additional ICC funds, to help you try and recover, elevate your home, and bring it into compliance with your community's ordinances. If you have questions about your community's ordinances, reach out to your local floodplain manager. They'll be able to help you. So the difference between substantial damage and repetitive loss, substantial damage means that your home was damaged more than 50%, or you had to repair it and pay more than 50% of its current market value of the home. Only a community official or your floodplain manager can actually make that decision for you that yes, it's been substantially damaged. So you would need your flood your floodplain administrator to come out and make that determination for you so that you would be eligible for ICC funds. The other one I mentioned was repetitive loss. If you are already paying an insurance premium for a repetitive loss, you already know it is a high premium. So if there's anyone in the room that applies to, you would know if you are repetitive loss. But a repetitive loss means that you incurred flood-related damages 2 times over a period of 10 years, and the cost of the repairs on average was at least 25% of the market value of your home. So these are just some other things that if you wanted to Google it. I will also be around this evening answering questions for anyone that has questions. I will not be here tomorrow, but again, if you have questions about your policy, call your insurance agent, your flood insurance agent of record, or your flood insurance company. And if you're not sure who your flood insurance company is, you can call 1-800-621-FEMA, choose option 2, and just tell them, I have flood insurance, but I'm not sure who my flood insurance company is. They can look it up and give you the phone number so you can go ahead and make that call to get your claims process started. Good luck.
I'd like to say this once if I could, and I'd like everybody to hear me, and I'd actually like you to repeat it in Spanish if we could as I go. So if I could kind of say a section of it, perhaps you could repeat it in Spanish so everybody understands this. You are preaching to the choir. You are absolutely, positively appealing to every instinct that I have, and I spoke with you yesterday. I absolutely have been on those streets. I have seen what's happened. I don't want to get on a bandbox tonight, but I do want to say one thing. I want to bring this into perspective just a little bit, and I'd like to talk about just a brief water lesson in the state of Florida.
La información le está llegando a la persona correcta. Él no quiere, él ya ha escuchado, ha hablado con varias personas y va a hablar de algunos asuntos y le va a explicar ahora en algo siguiente.
As we know, just below Orlando, the Kissimmee River starts water flowing to the southern part of Florida. It gets to Lake Okeechobee, and about 25% of the water goes east, and about 75% of the water goes west.
Nosotros sabemos que de Orlando para el sur el agua fluye un 25% para el área este y un 75% para el área oeste.
Most of that water comes down the Caloosahatchee River, but a lot of that river flows in byways and tributaries and streams down to Bonita Springs.
El agua que baja desde Orlando hacia el suroeste baja por las quebradas y los ríos y baja por pequeños riachuelos hasta el área de Bonita Springs.
In Bonita Springs, as long as I've been involved now for 5 years. I was on the city council for 4 years and a year and a half now as your mayor. This is an issue that I have been fighting and speaking and talking and appealing to people's better nature with now for 5.5 years.
Esta es una situación en la cual yo he estado pendiente y he hablado desde hace 5 años y medio, 4 años como city councilor y 1 año y medio como el alcalde de esta ciudad.
This issue is not going to be solved by buzzsawing and clear-cutting our DRGR, our environmental wetlands, on the east end of town.
Este asunto no va a ser arreglado tan fácil hasta que sea correcto por el DRGR, el DRG.
It just gets started with the DRGR. I would like to thank the Lee County Commissioners for recently purchasing Edison Farms in Estero, hundreds and hundreds of acres for water retention.
Quiero agradecer a los comisionados por la atención y por haber comprado acres y acres de terreno para la retención del agua.
Water doesn't know district lines, water doesn't know city lines, and water doesn't know county lines, with an example I'll give you in just a minute.
El agua cuando corre no tiene distinción de la división de la ciudad, del county o de los distritos, pero él va a explicar con un ejemplo ahora.
This morning we started on a short-term fix. Remember I mentioned short-term fixes and long-term fixes earlier? Just to get everybody's attention again. This morning we were successful with a short-term fix. What we did off of Bonita Beach Road with the Southwater Florida Management District is we broke open, actually with our former mayor Ben Nelson on the backhoe, to allow some water to flow south into the Cocohatchee River.
Han estado, él ha mencionado corto plazo, pasos que van a tomar a corto plazo y a largo plazo. A corto plazo ya han desviado el agua un poco para que salga hacia el río, hacia el oeste.
Governor Scott has been boots on the ground. County commissioners have been boots on the ground. Our city council have been boots on the ground and have been talking about this issue for years and years. Well, guess what? You don't deserve talk, you deserve action. Yes, and the city council.
El gobernador, el city council y el comisionado han estado acá en las calles mirando y usted se merece mejor acciones que lo que se ha hablado de lo que se va a hacer.
This conversation has ramped up recently. I've spoken with Governor Scott personally. As you know, Governor Scott was here a few weeks ago when we had the flooding, well ahead of the hurricane. He's walked, he's seen it, and he believes that we need to do something for the citizens of Bonita Springs. County Commissioner Larry Kiker, I've spoken with him. He believes, as some others have suggested here tonight, as emotional as it will be, as tough as it will be, we need to discuss permanent relocation.
El gobernador ha caminado a las calles, el comisionado ha caminado a las calles, han hablado desde antes del huracán de posibles soluciones y están trabajando ahorita para poder traer soluciones o si no desalojar el área.
Having said that, I want you to know we want everybody here, but there are certain parts of town that unless we change how we're letting this water flow, this is gonna happen. Mother Nature always wins. She always wins. We can build more houses, we can clear cut our environmental areas, and we can have more profit, but do you really think it's worth it?
Queremos que entiendan que esto va a suceder. La madre naturaleza es poderosa y siempre va a ganar. No importa lo que hagamos, podemos construir casas nuevas, podemos desalojar áreas, podemos hacer muchas cosas, recaudar fondos, volverlo a construir, pero ¿usted cree que eso sería valuable volver a construir si la madre naturaleza siempre va a ganar en un desastre?
In a few neighborhoods, and we will work to determine those neighborhoods, you have to work with us. This is not going to be easy. It's going to be emotional. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be financial. However, I am committed to working with how this works, and I spoke with the FEMA director when he was in town last week. He said you work it through your state, you work it through your county, you work it through your governor, and then you work with us at FEMA to make these hard decisions.
Este proceso no va a ser un proceso fácil, es un proceso emocionante, va a ser de mucha emoción. Él habló con el director de FEMA y él dijo que tiene que trabajarse con el gobernador, con el comisionado y con el condado para entonces proseguir con lo que se tiene que hacer para volver a levantar la ciudad.
And with water of this magnitude, we really need to deal with this and look at this like we've never looked at it before. You have my commitment on the long term. You have that on the long term. Believe me, I don't know how else to say it. I've just spoken again from the heart. These aren't my notes, by the way, I promise. This is from my heart. It's what I believe. And and it will be hand in glove, and it will be tongue in cheek. But FEMA understands the magnitude of this, and we will work through our county and through our state to get permanent answers on these lowlands that continually get flooded.
Quiero que sepa que estamos comprometidos. Estas no son mis notas. Estoy hablando del corazón. Estoy comprometido para buscar soluciones. FEMA entiende la magnitud de estos eventos y estamos trabajando juntos para poder seguir adelante.
So a little bit more on the long term, and then I'd like to turn the program back over to the short term. This really is an evening about the short term. We've heard the long term loud and clear, and like I said, you're preaching to the choir. I believe that. With every fiber of my being, I believe that. So we will work through that. On the short term, we want to get you the answers that you are demanding right now. You need homes, you need hotels. We want to talk about pods. We want to talk about housing that will be coming in from out of state that will be temporary housing. I really would like to focus on that tonight if we could. And what I'd like to do is organize another town hall meeting to focus on the long term. Tonight, if we really could focus on the short term to get the people that need quick answers, because this will be a policy-driven, belief-driven campaign that will absolutely get you these answers in due time. So I'd like to focus on the short term right now and get back to people's questions.
Esta tarde no nos queremos concentrar en las propuestas a largo plazo. Vamos a concentrarnos hoy en las propuestas de corto plazo para poderles darle una explicación rápida o una respuesta rápida a su pregunta y podernos mover. Luego podemos coordinar otro meeting para explicar y ir más a fondo en lo que son las propuestas a largo plazo.
Thank you very much.
We hear you. There is a process in place that is taking longer than sometimes because of the fact that we have so many counties in Florida declared in this disaster. But we have a housing assistance team from FEMA that has this on their schedule after they get done with the keys to assess this situation. And when we get that, they say, yes, you need a housing mission. That's the first step. And then we start working through to get the numbers that will need homes, a location for those. We're on it, but it's taking longer. And that's we feel horrible that everything is slowed down because it's just, we're overwhelmed with these disasters. But we also know you're suffering. No. It's in the works, but it takes a while, and we're going to have to come up with short-term solutions for everybody. But we want you to know that we have your best interest in mind and are using every resource we have that is available to try to help you recover as soon as possible. And we're going to work side by side with the mayor and with this community until it is recovered. So please take it one day at a time. Trust that we're working on it. It's going to take a while, but we're not going to go away, and you'll be better off after we're done, but I don't know how long that's going to take. I wish I could just, if this was the only disaster in the country right now, we'd have the full force of FEMA and all the federal agencies focused on it. But they're spread all over the place, the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico and all of that. That's all we have. So I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just saying we are one of many, many, many almost destroyed communities. And I said in the beginning, it doesn't get any worse than this. And we want to hear from you, and we're here to help. We want to help. So things are in motion. We don't have exact dates, but we're just going to be down the road. We're establishing a branch office here, and we're going to be here for the long haul. I hope that helps.
Yeah, I just want an inclination.
Yeah. We'll try to get more information out to the community on a more frequent basis after this meeting, knowing the urgency. And I know you need it. The best thing we can do is send you the information that we have, and we'll make sure that you get that. Oh, man.
And I was just going to say, if I failed to mention it earlier, for those that know me, they know I deal and I tackle issues head-on, one-on-one cases. So I don't want anybody to walk away from here with a blanket statement coming out of my mouth. I'm here to help you now. I've been in the streets for 3 weeks now with you, and I'd like to have follow-up with you individually, or anybody in here that would like an individual follow-up from the mayor of Bonita Springs on a one-on-one basis, so you can forget the innuendo and the rumors. We'll work with you individually.